And there's my design on the bottom left-hand corner. You see my designs there. My research aim was to develop a design system that coexists with the people and interacts with the environment in Korea. I conducted extensive design studies, researches, small and big, from the year 2007 to 2009, 2 years, two and a half years exactly. Since then, my designs have been implemented throughout the nation. We accomplished national installation, all over the nation with approximately 50 million US dollars. So that was a really changing the landscape of Korea. And with this presentation opportunity, I would like to tell a story about my design and my experience, personal experience, as an inspiration, as an resilience, and the definition. The Korean visual element for the 21st century. I think I continue to find more and more in movies and magazines and films and different sources, and it was a great experience, and I'm still recording these things for the future and the future. So I would like to, before I actually begin my full experience on research and the research I conducted after the study, I'd like to share what is my design philosophy. I want to share my design philosophy, which I practice for orchestrating this extensive, heavy research project, and excuse me, and other design projects as well. Before this is what I believe. Before we cultivated our society, like with the design, we rely heavily upon nature. We understood how Mother Nature communicates to us, not the typography, not the symbols, not designs, but we understood our existence and behaviors by connecting our senses to nature, with such that light, colors, odors, and sounds and the textures are measured by our sensory organs to communicate, to understand ourselves. But when we parted from the nature and began developing our own society, community, we built the villages first, then towns, then cities, and now we are, metropolitans. We have 10 million people living in Seoul now. So suddenly we began to design things to comprehend, not the nature. We cannot design nature, but we have to design this man-made city environment. Our existence and behaviors in this community spaces based on designs. So designers are very important forces, right? So confusion is a very necessary because we don't communicate to create these elements. So diversified designs like buildings, machines, cars, and those things, and signs, noises, and fumes, and pollution, and of course divisions. Divisions are chaotic now. It's a racial divisions, economy divisions, and so on. It's a chaotic. That's how we made that, right? So here, people have a unique and different individual personalities. We have to appreciate that because everyone is different. And designs, including typography, is an easy way to communicate that individual personality. We can use signs, buildings, public designs to identify the business and also the location. Shamefully, there are so many designs by pseudo designers, not professional designers, but pseudo designers. So there's no harmony, as you can see here. However, I want to unify the urban environment and create harmony to the urban appearance with my designs. In the middle of this photo image, my design stands against the surrounding typography and design. So I will tell you more about that later. Therefore, like nature, my designs are for the people. It must help people to realize their existence and behaviors. Also, my designs must be timeless and flexible in any type of environment and career. These are my final designs and the design system. Street name signs, direction signs, directory signs, and building number signs as a system. It has a motif, so it's not just a design, but it has a motifs. Street name signs are motif using the hanbok. Hanbok is a traditional clothes in Korea. It has a curved linear line and dedicated blue color and the pungseongham. Okay, and the right translation for that word, pungseongham, right? It's a Korean word, pungseongham. It's translated as I can explain to you. It's a word for a loose but graceful silhouette. Okay, that's what pungseongham means. So I want to use that pungseongham and street name signs using the motif of hanbok, right? And the director sign is King Jinheng's, Jinwang Sunsubi, right? So he is a king in Shilla dynasty. He erected this monuments, okay, big, huge monuments. It's about I think it's about 7 feet high, 7 feet high to 10 feet high monuments that showing how the expanding his national territory, and also he promoted national prestige with this monuments. So I want to use a motif of that. And then building number signs are importantly the house, using the motif of house to symbolize family and prosperity. So every building has this, my building number signs will have a prosperity and the family value and love and that kind of stuff. I want to have that. And also gift box, okay, so represents gift and happiness. And for a tourist spot, the brown building number sign you see down there, is using the motif of God. Okay, it's a traditional Korean hand. The mind of the scholar who always try to pull himself together. That's what I do. The God is a very sensitive head that you have to be very careful about your action so it doesn't damage. So, and also with the round shape building number signs is using the motif of a rounded shield from Goryeo dynasty. So there's two different shields, long shield and the round shield. And most time we use a round shield in Korean history. So I want to, that symbolize the government should defend and protect its people, trust, right? So I want to use that shape for that. And also, and then direction sign, it's a regular, shape that you see everywhere in different parts of the world. So it's just a supportive visual element to the street name sign. And then I come up with the different regulations. It's not just designing it. I have to come up with the different types of regulations so people can follow. So I come up with the different regulations such as the installation height, the location, and manufacture methods are defined by my research. And these are some of my native prototypes for size simulation analysis. The final, you can be very simple, the final design solutions, right? But it's a professional term. We say native prototypes for size simulation analysis. But simply for common people, I can say the final design solutions, right? So different ways. So finding problem is a very important process for the research foundation. So these images show the different problems in the environment before my designs, my research. So all the visibility problem of the street name signs due to visual polluted facilities in the surroundings. So this is a problem, big problem. And you can really see the street name signs and it has a really don't have the function. It's just become a part of the visual pollution created by surroundings, right? As you see here. And also the building number. It's just so many. It's more than 300 different types of building number signs existed before my research. It's just chaotic, okay? Just not working properly. And there's another problem that sidewalks and roadways, it's just a part of the polluted visual pollution. And the ununified street name signs, the different street name signs on different types of street, just not unified typography is not, it's not consistent. Okay, the size and the space and the tracking and kerning and the space around it and that kind of stuff. And of course the Hangul and the Roman alphabet, the proportions is not settled. So all these problems I found, and also how they inappropriate installation locations. Street name signs should not be installed there, but it's there. I don't know why, but that kind of stuff. It's not right. So I had to then after that I have to determine the research needs and goals based on the finding from the preliminary research. So my needs are for the new Millennium aspect. I'm going to concentrate on that today, and the cultural aspect. Then I want to do more standardization aspects. So my ultimate goal for my research is creating the wayfinding and way showing system, and the production and principle, so everyone can easily produce. Okay, and also principle manual, so everyone can follow same thing. Even it's different designers, different manufacturers, they must create, manufacture, make, create same design. So that's a manual is for, right? And then I create design research philosophy. Before conducting the actual design research, we had to, I had to build the research foundation. First is this. I had to create a research philosophy to maintain consistent research ethics internally and externally, because there's so many people will be involved. So I manifested a research philosophy called PAVE, P for public designs for the new address system, A for aesthetic value for the street environment, V for visual standard for the public designs, E for extended national identity with a visual experience. And then the second step is I have to formulate and orchestrate the whole research network, which includes cooperative network, focusing on the function and aesthetics, and operative network, focusing on the research support. So it's not designers, it's manufacturers, engineers, and government officials, and there's so many people, site operators, and so it's not just designers. There's a whole network. It's at different types of field. Excuse me. So I need to orchestrate all these different types of people. So during the research time, I orchestrated the research and design process with approximately, I think, about 900 different people, different types of people. So I have to, wear different types of hats, so I can have this research smooth and play really beautiful sound and that kind of stuff. It was very difficult, but it is very important at the same time. And then third, I had to create this research action plan. We have to do this action plan, okay? Philosophy and with this team, yeah, we're gonna do this. This is what, based on the needs and goal I proposed before. The now is about meeting the goals, the condition of the design, the final designs with the function, which is wayfinding and way showing. It leads to then a future, the new millennium aspects, enhancing the new address system, enhancing tourism industry, enhancing national image and identity. Understanding the new address system is very important to continue with my research. Also, I was involved with formulating new address system here in Korea. The Korean had a lot names address system introduced in 1918 during the Japanese colonial era, which is not suitable for contemporary needs. 100 years later, officially Korea's new address system, street name address, from the lot name address system to street name address, just like the United States. United States is based on street name address system, implemented nationally by the year 2014. So my design research is very important at the time, well, preparing it. Now all streets assign unique names and all buildings are assigned building numbers. Used to get directions adopting this new street name address system, which can help to save about $2.9 billion annually. And my design support is a recognition and reliability throughout the country. Let me explain how it works, how address system works. It's totally different. It has some sameness with the United States address system, but it's a very unique. It's the only address system in the whole world, and I'm so proud of it, getting involved with this, creating it. But let me explain how it works. You need to understand three information hierarchy. Okay, information hierarchy, street hierarchy, and street blocks and building numbers. Our environment is structured with the houses and roads like this. Okay, and then we decorated with the signs and other things, right? Cars and people and all the things. But our streets are two things. The streets and roads and the houses. So street hierarchy system contains three different sizes. At the end, Darrow means is over 8 lanes. Row means it is 2 to 7 lanes. Hill means narrower than 1 lane. Then street blocks start from the west, always start from the west to the east. Always start from the south to the north, always. Okay, we don't change that. And then building numbers represent the distance. For example, 1 is a 10 meter and 10 is 100 meter. Okay, so as you see here, all these odd building numbers placed on the left side of the street, so indicating west or north, right? Even building numbers placed on the right side of the street, indicating east or south. For example, you see here 10, 중앙로, okay, 중앙로, okay, 중앙 is just a name, 로 is, told you before. We can comprehend that the current location is 100 meters from the starting point of a 중앙로. And the 로 indicates 6-lane street. So you can mentally picture the location with the name of the street. Okay, and the 10 represent the building is located in the south side or east side. So you definitely know where that building is, right? Is that south or east? That you can see. So this is a very important address system for finding place from way showing aspect, and then my designs directing the place from position 1A to B, that kind of easily. So I did before generating and implement the design. I traveled many locations in Korea and overseas to analyze the designs and environments. Switzerland, France, China. Especially Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a very nice system. Tokyo has a very similar because they have a lot name system. They don't have a street name system, but they have a lot address system. And I analyze the designs by micro and macro design elements. Micro design elements represent what makes the design, and macro design elements represent what influenced the design. Okay. And then I conducted case studies because I want to design unique and symbolic designs so that my designs represent the national identity. Okay, so we're not able to copy. It's just like a Hangul, right? Hangul is for Korea. My design is for Korea. That's what I want, right? So after that, finding strong research foundation, I conducted design thinking, survey, and prototype testing. For example, surveys for design direction, wayfinding simulation 10 times, design preferences 10 times, site installation simulations 4 times, design simulation 10 times. Then design formalization, I did design native prototype 10 times with government officials and professionals, not just designs, but engineers and those people. It's important too also. And then there's some survey and simulated survey with the USA, UK, China, and Korea. I want to make sure that way showing and the wayfinding is working. And after that, I did public hearings, about 2 times, did public hearings. So make sure the citizens like it, okay? And then ministerial meetings, I need to talk to all the generals and president to show the work is working. And then it gives a design solution and manual. Those are the this is how it worked. So we did. So here we gather existing information and regulation, then conduct a survey. Okay, so 4 different surveys for visual perception. For perception, we realize the shape first, then color second, and then the content third. Okay, that's how we recognize the information. So I did surveyed on the shape first, then color, then typography, then I simulated. But this is trying to find the direction, not to find the solution. So the survey methods is not sometimes is not find the solution, but find the direction. Find the solution is you designers, role. But doing the survey method is finding problems or finding the direction in design thinking. So with the same method for building number signs, this is even worse because too many existing designs. So close to 300 different designs existed at the time. So we have to see the preferences on shapes, then later color, and that kind of stuff. After this preference surveys, my solutions to define the building number sign is how we distinguish the building by its purpose. Okay, so here I separated. I had an extra research on how we divide the buildings. Okay, how divide areas and that kind of stuff. So I did for residential and business. And also tourism is very important in Korea. Any country is tourism very important now. So tourism and also government. So this is how I separate the whole country the purpose of this by purpose of design. So in micro design, after accomplishing the research foundation, I had to conduct 8 major micro design studies to find exclusive design elements, because it has to be unique, right? So exclusive design elements. During the studies, I'm most concerned about the function and aesthetics. I made original arrows, and everything should be original. So arrows based on the natural landscape of Korea. Okay. So many sketches I done, mock-ups, prototypes I had to explore. So finally, I formulated these 2 arrows right here. And a curve, I try golden rules and Fibonacci numbers and that kind of stuff, right? But it doesn't work. That's for Western idea of a ratio and proportion and that kind of stuff. But I tried to find the Korean ways of proportion and ratio. So that it's looking at the nature of Korea and the custom of Korea and all that stuff. So this is not based on golden rules or Fibonacci numbers or that kind of stuff, but it's a Korea, the nature I observe and this is another lesson that I can give you, but so go back. I formulate these 2 arrows, the curve, angles, and proportion ratios of arrows. It's became the primary design elements of the total design. So it's repeated, simply it's a repeated, right? And then I had to do a letter sizes and spaces. To determine appropriate letter sizes and space, we conducted many readability tests, such as a bisecting letter form test, overglow simulation test, point of view test, eyesight test. To find the best type size and reading distance relationship, there are formulations made by, there's a really good scientists and designers, but I conducted eyesight and readability test based on implementing the Korea Reading Traffic Act. Okay, so in order to drive, you have to have 0.5 or above eyesight. So I gather all these people with a 0.5 eyesight, and I designed the different heights on this type and make sure they can see. Okay, so I did conducted 30 people, and then I conducted 50 people, and later I conducted 100 people on this. So finally I found that we determined 100 millimeter type size Korean letters, not Roman alphabet. Korean letters are different structure when you compare with the Roman alphabet. So Korean alphabet, Hangul, must have 100 millimeter type size for the pedestrians and 300 millimeter type size for the drivers. It works fine, no complaints. So this 2 different types of street name signs, endpoint, this is called endpoint street name sign for the pedestrians. Exclusive lines and shapes become the frame of the sign, like that from that arrow. Type size and letter spaces define the information inside. Okay, and the color, the blue color, is especially made for this thing, my design. Okay, so we had to convince 3M. Okay, importantly, because the street names and building numbers are flexible, I calculated many possible word length combination. So design system only required 3 standard sign size. Okay, if you think it's different ways, then it's going to be hard. Okay, it's going to be really hard, okay? And it costs a lot of money. If you save 1 inch, you save a lot of money, right? So standardizing the street sign to 3, okay, is very important. So specify the street name was 7 letters. So now it should be 7 letters, no more than 7 letters. Some people are crazy trying to have a street name 20 letters, but I tried to limit it. So I show that limited, I simulate that what happens to 20 letters? It's a weight of a sign cannot sustain on the pole, right? So it has to be 7. And we had to hire an engineer to prove that 7 letters should work. And if you go more than 10 letters, it could be damaged or it could be dangerous. It's not a good design, right? Anymore, it become a weapon in different types of weather condition. So we did must we have 7 letters of maximum, and that and also cost effective, right? And then we did for this for drivers are different, and sometimes it's for drivers. First step is producing the size. Sometimes I told them first some street names are longer, right? So first step is reducing the letter space to minus 100 points. The second step is reducing the width of type to 60% or 50%. Because the balance between this Hangul and Roman alphabet, sometimes the Hangul is maybe 3-4 letters, and the Roman alphabet is maybe 20 or 30, and then it becomes longer, right? We only need this big, and because of Roman alphabet, we have to install this big. So we don't want that happen, right? So I have to say we need to first reduce 100 points on Roman alphabet. If it doesn't work, then go to reducing the letter form, condensing the letter form to 60 to 50%. It's a poor readability, but major concern, information hierarchy, the major information is a street name in Korean, and secondary information is Roman alphabet. So so we continue to this. So the letter forms are positive space, right? And the negative space or white space tends to give a pause for the eye, right? So here, Seoul-gang, Daero means a big, right? 7-8 lane street, right away. And the street is big, but it's long too, right? 1 to 9,999, that is about what? 99 kilometers long, right? About 100 kilometers long, but there's no such a street name like this. I have to see the maximum number that you can put on here as a 4 digits, okay? But it's like 100, 10,000, 10 kilometers, a very long street, even in United States, right? So I created many official terms, to specify the parts of the sign, okay, to have no miscommunication between administrators, operators, manufacturers, and installers, because they have, if I assign terms on this, and they can communicate using those terms, not guessing what that is, right? That's a time saving for people. And then such as a round corner, and visual boundary lines must be thicker than the letter form. Okay, that's a Gestalt theory, right? You have to be, you see the bigger first and the smaller later. So you see the letter form is a thinner than visual boundary lines. So it becomes a boundary between the outside of the sign to between the outside of the sign to this content, right? If it's a thinner, then the outside content will be, coming into this. Visually, they're coming into this inside of this sign. So having the same color, the white, and say the thicker than the Hangul letter form, it gives it definitely have a really pleasant boundary between these two contents, outside and inside. So visual boundary must be thicker than the letter form to separate the sign from the environment. And then margin space must have to separate the street name and the building number, right? There's no such thing as a design error, but it's a very flexible too. You know, every petition by citizens, they can propose street names. That's a very important too. And now people start to doing it because once you have this type of street names, the street becomes a content, tourism content, right? So for example, designer Darrow, all the designers want to live here, right? Or all designer shops on this place and that kind of stuff. So if people know this name of street, then that information is registered in their brain that what they expect to see in that particular location, right? So having those very unique and approachable street name is a very important source for tourism. So that's why I propose that too, right? So here, and then directional shape, again, it's a part of that arrow that I designed. So extending the balance and proportion and the curvilinear. So it gives a nice, pleasant looking. And then the street name in Roman alphabet should be 70% of the height of Hangul street name, and it's a more condensed type. So each letter trying to do what this is what I trying to do. Each letter of Korean should be equivalent to 3 letters of Roman alphabet. Okay, so it has to be condensed, and then it probably close to I calculate that you see in this example, design arrow is a 6 letter right there, but here the Roman alphabet, it's very close to the same length, right? So we don't lose a lot of space when you have this bilingual sign together. Okay. So also I want to build a storytelling and communication by the people and the location, right? So I told you before, the first I study on categorizing the properties by its characteristics. With the property function study result, I specify 4 different property categories: residential, business, tourism, and government. So it's for Koreans, but also because the tourism is important for foreigners who visit Korea. Looking at this building number sign, they can easily distinguish what building is and what the location is. Okay. Here I use the shape of house I explained to you before, right? And then also I specify suburb production method options. Okay, this sign manufactured using laser cut on stainless steel method. Okay, this is very popular nowadays, and it's not that expensive anymore. So some of this more so it's become a little more popular nowadays because it's forever, right? It's not like a film manufacturer. Film manufacturer is only last 5 years or 8 years. Okay, but when you're doing something like this metal, it lasts forever. Okay, and the change with the time and weather, it's a beautiful, beautiful changes. And this gift box, right? This is a laser color print. Now you can laser color print on the metal surface. So I have to, so I have to for street name signs. Street name signs is a given. You have to be reflective. So you have to use a reflective film, and it has to be aluminum because it has to be light and that kind of stuff. But for the building number sign, it doesn't have to be. It can be any type of manufacturing method. So I have to research on different types of materials and also manufacturing methods and propose what you can do and how much it costs and that kind of stuff. So that's a part of designer's role, right? Design researcher's role. And using the shape of God, God I told you, traditional hat worn by nobles and scholars in Korea. It's specified to use a brown color to indicate tourist attraction. It's an international color for tourism, the brown color. Use a national standard pictogram. It's not international standard pictogram, but it's national standard pictogram. I can give you another lecture on difference between two. To help predict the function of the building and location. For example, I use a symbol of a museum here. So looking at this, this building is museum, right? This is a building number sign for government buildings and locations. So again, the round shape, a shield, right? Goryeo dynasty. It symbolizes government is a protector. Our Korean government is a protector for the people. Again, the pictogram is in there, right? So you can put logo there. Sometimes the police. This is the pictogram for police. So any foreigners trying to find the police station, that building is a police station by looking at finding this pictogram. So more and more we have tourists from overseas. We need to develop these systems here. So after that, we conducted micro, then complete the macro, and macro is also 8 major studies I conducted. It's a very important researches I did. These are studies including mock-up and prototype installation, and also site simulation tests, mainly defining the proposed wayfinding and way showing system here. So I'm showing my designs with typography in the actual environment of Korea. There are so many variations in the environment of Korea, and I need to group. I need to informational grouping on that different types of environment. This is a typical business signboards attached to the buildings in Korea. And many different personalities you see in different typography, in the Roman alphabet and plus Korean Hangul alphabet working together, and this is chaotic, right? Call it visual pollution somewhat, and they shout very loudly. And if you hear it, you can see so many sounds, so many noises. It's my design is an accent and a mood breaker in this environment. It has a recognizable, because it's everywhere, right? It's a recognizable and consistent typography system. So it helps to unify the environment from the chaotic typography identities. Even there is less or no typography in the background, my typography system directs people to position in the street, in the environment. All right. In this newly planned town environment, the street name signs show the mood and define the identity of the street environment. Adding this symbolic ornament on the top of the street name signs to connotate the identity of the street. Okay. In this environment, the street name sign balances different architectural styles. It emulates styles to identify the Korean identity. In the countryside, the design shows the typographic consistency and never overpower the nature, but it tried to unify the Korean identity. Also, it brings a mood and identity to the old and small countries. Okay, here they use a name of historical figure, international figure, I say, Lee Sun-shin, right, to bring out the pride in people, in town people, and also visitors. They understand the part of their history. Visually, the Roman letters support the Hangul letters, as you see here. Now people are proud to have it and name the street with the historical meanings. They begin to do that. Even with the structurally, even with this bright neon lights in the streets in Korea, the typography and the color and the thing, it has a sharp legibility, and also minimalizing overglow reading in the street. So after, you know, I did many years, I travel every year different parts of Korea and recording what my design is doing, you know, my babies are doing. So I'm going to show you the sample. And I think this will be a really interesting place for you, especially if you never visit Korea. This is a Jeonju Hanok-maul, okay? Hanok-maul is what? Hanok is any traditional Korean architecture houses, like this kind of look. Right? This is a Jeonju Hanok-maul from the top view. I jumped so high, right? I jumped so high and take this photo. But on the bottom of the right-hand corner, you see my design there. Okay, it's just a pleasant looking. So this is a Jeonju-maul, and this is must-go place if you visit Korea. It's only 2 hours from Seoul, and there's so many buses and trains, you can go there very easily. Like many Asian countries, okay, Korea uses the Hangul and Roman alphabets together in any, you know, environmental science. So I specify to use regular Hangul with the condensed Roman alphabets to balance the function aspects of two different typography, also the structure of a typography. They match almost perfect, showing the balance in the limited space, very limited space. In this village, all buildings look alike. Hanok is very look alike, right? So you don't know what the function of that building. But even for Koreans, it's hard to distinguish what that is, right? So before looking at the signage, different types of signage, when you're looking at building number sign, you know right away that this case, you know, it's a historical building. This building is the historical building. But same building style. You see here and here. This is not a historical building. It's just a regular building, a regular Hanok building. It has a function of maybe resident or business, right? But it's not a tourist attraction. But without it, you know, all the foreigners will think all these buildings are tourist attractions, but which is not, right? So these are more designs you see in the same location. Don't just looking at my design, but looking at this environment. It's really, you know, different restaurants, Korean food, and places you can stay. This is a place you can stay, and I had that experience of sleeping in Hanok architecture. So here you can try different types of Korean food. A lot of young people, high school students and 20s, you know, university students visit there often. Even this is a popular dating course, you know. So here, and also I utilize the bipolar harmony between and yang of Korea to designs. Okay, it's really different than rest of the world. Okay, Korean design. And I try to help to improve the national brand image and pride. After research, I have you know, different places, and I photograph the designs, and suddenly I noticed, you know, I found so many designs implementing or copying my design elements. Okay, you can you can say design parody, right? It's, but here they copy the shape, typography, corners, and visual boundary lines, proportion, and size, indicating the parking lot, right? It's not street name sign, but it's a parking lot. But they're using my design, and this right here too. It's a sign. It's a sign. It's a strange, but I find 1, 2, 3, 4, many, things they're using my thing, like a TV shows and that kind of stuff. It's a very interesting. Okay. I do not get upset about this. Okay. It's not a lawsuit or anything like that. I don't want to do that, but it's a cultural thing, right? Cultural development. It's part of the cultural development. If people like it, they want to copy it. Right? It's a human nature kind of thing. So I want to discover more of these things. I'm very anxious to discover more. Even this is my project. Trying to find the design parity. It shows that it definitely shows my design. They enjoy my design. They like it. Consciously or unconsciously. Okay, and it become their existence and behaviors. Okay. And I mean, here is another one. They're using it. You see a lot. Even here, McDonald's, right? McDonald's, great. Even this sign on the closed signs, the proportion is very similar. Even these things for young kids, So it's become an icon and a national identity. Now my mission is observing the changes and recording the history. Okay. Now there's another thing. It's now I photograph. That was my mission, photograph everywhere. But maybe for a designer, we always think about purpose and objective, right? Function and meaning and that kind of stuff. So I try to, Korea is one of an excellent travel destination in the world. It is an exciting country, but it's a very hidden. But it's in 21st century, I think it's more and more people realize there's something we're missing. Now I have a new project related to the research needs, assessing research needs, new Millennium aspect. So I develop a unique Korea tourism experiences. Okay, that's right. That's my mission now. With a 1-day or 2-day tours, okay, plan, discovering my designs and food, nature, health, and culture of Korea. So I make this a one, building this database, since 2 years ago. I'm building this 1-day trip, 2-day trip, right? And then if once I build more and more, then I can do something else. I don't know what, but can do that. So and I'd like to show for this opportunity, I'll show one of my favorite 1-day tour today. Okay, I hope you feel the same way after this tour. With the tour. First, I'd like to tell you about Korea. Korea sustainable tourism resources. We have that history, 5,000 years, just like a neighbor country. We have 5,000 years. We have ancient and modern mixed cities. It's not just modern cities, but ancient too. Ancient value, because of 5,000 years, you can just distinguish it in one year or short period of time. It's still there. About the same size of Minnesota. So it's it can be very small. And we have 4 distinctive seasons, just like Connecticut, New York, and those areas. 3 distinctive ocean types. That's very important because that means that we have so many different types of fish, shellfish, and different types of fish and that kind of stuff. And then 70% mountain. Okay, that means we can have so many leisure, golf course or ski resorts and all this stuff. Matter of fact, we have a Winter Olympics in Korea a few years ago, and I attended. I wasn't. It's great. And then we have three major rivers running in the main part. It's a very long, and it's great for boating and the canoeing and things like that. Summertime I do canoeing, and no one canoe in river. I don't know why, but I'll probably only one canoeing. It's very peaceful. In the United States, you canoe with a river. It's great, the tubing and that kind of stuff. But in Korea, it's a very new sport. We didn't have that kind of sports before, but now we have surfing in Jeju Island and in the east part in the ocean. You can do surfing. It's a lot of young kids, 20s. They do surfing a lot now, and I think it's more foreigners coming for surfing too. And then transportation system is great, high efficiency. Everywhere in Korea, you can reach there within 3 hours to 5 hours. So, all, fresh food. So one day, that's why I have a 1 day or 2 day trip planned, because it's a great database, I think, for tourism in the future. And of course, we have democratic government, free speech, free act, but we don't have gun. We don't have problems and social problems. Okay. And then we have accommodations everywhere, all different types of levels. Okay. 24-hour service. So all these are getting noticed, and these are the things you can experience when you come. So these are all the facts and resources that we have that we never really fully use. And through this, because I like nature and I do, hiking and canoeing and that kind of stuff, I find this is some raw resources that we need to develop to have that tourism resources. So this is a 1 day tour that you will come with me today. Okay, it's right here is a Seoul right here. Okay, this color, like all this gray color is not Seoul, but this is a color map in the center right here is a Seoul. And this why we go for 1 day trip is this location in Seoul, and most people go right here. Okay, but I like to show this location. And this is a location that characteristic of this location is not just this place, but there are many locations in Seoul area have that. Okay, so 1 day trip means it has to be done in 1 day. Okay, and you don't have to wake up early morning 6 o'clock, but relax, right? Is you're touring, so it should be a 6 hour, maybe 2 hours in the morning and maybe lunch and little bit afternoon. More, that's what tourism is, right? More relaxed, not stressful activities, but more relaxed, more sleep and that kind of stuff. So if you do hurry and you want to do this, you can do it in 2.5 hours. It's only 6.2 miles. Okay. You want to do casual site tour, take photos and eat and enjoy and that kind of stuff, you can do it in 6 hours. Okay, so I did this in Friday, November 4, 2020, last year, COVID-19, but I was wearing mask, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm still here, right? So here's the beginning. Okay, and this the middle, that blue place is a huge campus. That's a Seoul National University, one of the top university in Korea. So this is quite cool, and this is a front entrance of that university, and we will climb way up there in the mountain. So you see that in the background. Okay, that's where we're gonna go. And this is a very beginning of the street, so it's a one, and this is rounded because this is government building. And then you have pictogram of a school. So you know this is a school, right? So it's a one, and then I was walking, so follow me, walking, and there's a convenience store right next door, okay, by the bus station. The different road, but it's just not a government building, but it's a business or residential building, and very first building, first site, right? Then you walk. This is I was walking in the mountain. That's great, So it's not wild, uh, you know, nature because it's in the city, and most nature in Korea is not really wild. I mean, you can find a wild place, but it's a very man-made. So you have to understand, 5,000 years people didn't have a car. They have to walk in 70% of mountain. A horse cannot go in the mountain. You have to walk, right? For 5,000 years, they have to make these roads by men, right? To get there. So most this mountain areas are very, there's no, fox or wolf or, that kind of stuff. You don't see that, once in a while you see a wild pig, but they don't harm you. They'll walk away. If you don't trick them or anything like that, play with them or anything like that. Of course, you don't want to play with the wild pigs, right? So you walk here the mountain with that man-made route, very nicely. It's nice sun in November, right? You see all the leaves are down now, I think. But you're in the bottom of this mountain. Now I'm starting to climb up. So voila, I'm on top of the mountain. Okay, I don't want to show the whole process, but so Gwanaksan is about 632 meters high. From here, you can see full view of Seoul. Okay, there's in Seoul, in the center of Seoul, there's a Hanyang, right? There's the river runs through. Let me see. The river is so wide. I think it's a very wide river. One of the widest river I find in the city. And then Seoul is surrounded by mountains, so you can see, there's a lot of activities going on in Seoul. So in the top of the mountain, I will show you. This is a video that I like to show you what you look at, how you look at the Seoul landscape from the Gwanak mountain. And that's the south of Seoul. So that's a 10 million people right there, okay? 10 million people. So all this gray, any cities are gray, because it's man-made, cement, right? So it's gray. So having my blue color, it would make sense that when you experience in the city, the blue color really makes sense. And this is another video I would like to show. Different location. Yeah. So that's we started from the beginning to top of mountain, and I will down. I don't want to show this nature kind of thing, right? Because there's no my design. There's no design in mountain. But that whole trip in the mountain lasts 2.5 hours. Okay, get up there about an hour and a half, and come down about an hour, right? So I think I didn't go the same way because it's boring, right? So it's a different way. The end or bottom of this mountain, 2.5 hours later, I find my design. As you know, there's a lot of electrical wires and cables and that kind of stuff. It's not underground because it's an old city. It's a hard, new cities, you have underground cable and that kind of stuff, but old city environments, it's exposed. So my design sort of kind of, camouflage that thing. So I'll show you different ways. So you remember Kill means a one lane street. So see that one lane street, only one car can go. Most Gil is one-way street. in Korea. So there's a lot of gills in there in especially residential area. So you go further, you start finding my designs here, you know. Again, a lot of grays, but their color really stands out and give a mood. You still there, you see there, okay. See there too. And this is a traditional, just old marketplace in Korea. It's a very, there's many marketplaces before, just like the United States, but in LA, there's a fisherman marketplace. I forgot. I used to go there a lot, but there's only one marketplace in Hollywood. But just in Korea too, there's a lot of reducing. It's gone now. You know, so finding this marketplace is it's a finding gold in the, you know. So this is a marketplace that you know you can have a food and, you know, different types of experiences. It's great, you know. So I show you, and so, you know, every time you go, every time you know see street, you see my street sign, street name sign, and if you're a foreigner, if you see Gil, that means it's a small narrow sign, and then there's a number. That means it's a distance, right? So you know how far you have to go to your destination area, designation. So this is a shadow scale, right? Shadow scale is a man-made street, people-made street. It's not government made that street, but people gather and made that street, and then government jump in and they support it. This is kind of cultural street, shadow scale. As a cultural street, there are a lot of young people, special young people from this campus, Seoul National University, have enjoyed in the evening after a long day of classes. They go there for drinking, eating, and social life, 노래방, karaoke, 노래방, and that kind of stuff. You know, PTX, you know, all this stuff, you know, going on here. So this is a very beginning location of that. And you can see my design there. So you can see my design, 101, you know, right away. One means 10 meter from location. So what is this? 1 kilometer to the end of the street. Okay, so I have to walk 1 more kilometers, you know. So from here to my designation is about 1 kilometer. And I can calculate how fast I should go. If I only have 30 minutes, then I'm still okay. If I have 5 minutes, then I better run, right? If I have 5 minutes, then I have to run because if it's 1 kilometer. But if I have 30 minutes or 2 hours, I can have a relaxed time because it's 1 kilometer to go, right? Without opening the app, right? So in the middle, about 5 meters, I walked down, and I found because I was hungry. We were hungry, my wife and I. We were hungry, so we stopped by this restaurant. And this is, you know, I think most U.S. Citizens, Americans, you know, taste galbi, bulgogi, japchae, tteokbokki, kimchi, and all these Korean foods before. I think more and more Americans try Korean cuisines, but never tried this food, I think, because you cannot eat this in United States. But many times in my US friends or European friends visit Korea, I take them to this type of location, because they enjoy so much. And you remember I told you we have 3-sided oceans, and we only 3-5 hours distance from everywhere. What does that mean? All the food from the ocean are fresh. It's only 1 day trip, half-day trip. So all the seafood are fresh. So all the seafood that you enjoy, especially the winter time, is a great. I have it's a long introduction because I want to surprise you, or whatever. But here, this is video, matter of fact. So, oh no, it's my mistake. Yeah. So it's tasteful. It looks great, right? All right. So all the seafood, fresh seafood. Okay, it's not frozen, but it's a fresh seafood in this stew. And this is 3, 4 people gather around this table. And you never find this in the United States, I think. This is one of the reasons you should visit Korea. And then you can have a soju or beer together, and then we have a friendly environment, just like a galbi or bulgogi you cook on the table. This is the same thing. Okay, this is it never try with the frozen seafood. Okay, it has to be live. Okay, so this is another cuisine you should try, and we have different types of seafood that you try. Then I start walking, and you see a lot of westernized, restaurants, a pasta. This is a pasta place, but a more Koreanized pasta. You put kimchi there, and maybe tofu, Korean tofu in pasta and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of fusion food in Korea too. Korean cuisine with the Western, Italian, and that kind of stuff. I remember 20 years ago in Hollywood, we had a kimchi pizza. And now it's like 10 years ago when I visited Los Angeles, so we had a kimchi taco. So that was an awesome experience. I think it's a great food, mixing these different cuisines together and having awesome new this food is great. So even here in my street name sign, the basic combination is Hangul and Roman alphabet. But some of the locations in Korea, a lot of Chinese tourism and a lot of Japanese tourism. So tourists. So we have to add Chinese characters and also Japanese characters. So matter of fact, we have 4 different alphabets here, 4 different alphabets in one place. But major visual hierarchy, information hierarchy, the major denotation is a Hangul, and then a Roman alphabet, because Roman alphabet is international. And the third information, tertiary information is Chinese and Japanese. Okay. And you keep walking, you find this old type of, this is a kind of a bar with a bar, right? So a lot of young people go there in the evening, meeting people and that kind of stuff. We call that pocha. So here, start walking to the end. See my design, how you work with the environment. Sort of neutralizing the visual pollution, I call it. Okay. Here, without my design, I think it's just some pollution, but because the people, it's consistency. I think they neutralize the visual pollution. It's in. Okay. So this is a shadow scale. So we have so many guilds now. Okay. Small streets that specialize. Okay. So thank you very much. It's a long presentation. Now you can say about my designs and find my designs when you visit Korea. I hope everyone here can have a chance to visit Korea after. I really appreciate having time here, and also give me such this opportunity to share my research. Thank you very much.